Hi there. Welcome to Grammar. Here, you'll find simple and engaging English stories designed to help you improve your listening skills. Whether you're a beginner or just looking to practice, my stories will help you learn naturally. So sit back, listen, and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe for more. A child finds a secret portal in a video game. Chapter 1: The Game Begins. Lucas had always been fascinated by video games. Ever since he could remember, he would spend hours in front of the screen, trying to conquer new worlds and solve tricky puzzles. His parents always told him to get outside and play, but Lucas preferred the adventures he could find in his favorite games. He had a collection of games ranging from fantasy battles to racing cars, but his most treasured game was a mysterious one his older brother, Ethan, had given him. It wasn't the most popular game in the world, but Lucas didn't care. The game was called Worlds Unseen. Ethan told him it was an old game, one that no one really played anymore, but Lucas was hooked from the moment he started playing. It was full of hidden treasures, mystical creatures, and challenges that seemed endless. One Saturday afternoon, Lucas sat in his room, controller in hand. The house was quiet, his parents were out for a while, and Ethan was at his friend's house. That gave Lucas the perfect chance to dive into the game without distractions. As usual, Lucas found himself exploring the game's main world, a vast, magical land filled with forests, towering castles, and secret caves. But today was different. Today, Lucas was determined to uncover something new. He had been stuck on the same level for days, trying to defeat a powerful wizard who guarded the castle gate. The wizard was tough, and no matter what Lucas tried, he couldn't break through. Maybe I'm missing something, Lucas muttered to himself. He had read all the guides online and talked to people in the game's community, but nothing seemed to work. Then, something strange happened. As he was walking near the castle gates, something flickered in the corner of the screen. It wasn't part of the usual scenery. Lucas paused and focused his eyes. The flicker came again, but this time it was more obvious, like a shadow moving behind a tree. He moved his character closer to investigate. To his surprise, the tree wasn't just a tree. It was a doorway, hidden in the shadows, leading to a dark tunnel. Lucas's heart raced. He had never seen this part of the game before. He hadn't read about it in any of the guides. "What is this?" Lucas whispered, slowly moving his character through the hidden portal. The world around him faded into darkness as the screen flickered. For a moment, he thought the game had glitched, but when the screen cleared, he found himself in a new world, a world unlike anything he had ever seen. It wasn't a forest or a castle, it was a vast, empty space with floating islands and glowing lights. The ground was covered in strange markings, and the sky was filled with swirling clouds of every color. It was a secret level, hidden away for players to discover. Lucas's fingers hovered over the controller, unsure of what to do next. Should he explore? Should he go back? But something in him urged him forward. He had found a secret, a treasure hidden deep within the game, and he wasn't about to turn back now. Chapter 2: The Guardian of the Portal. Lucas cautiously moved his character through the strange landscape. He didn't know what was waiting for him in this mysterious world, but he was determined to find out. As he walked, he noticed floating platforms that seemed to appear and disappear, as if the world itself was alive and constantly changing. He stepped carefully, making sure not to fall into the endless void below. "Where am I?" he muttered. He had never seen anything like this in any of the game's forums or guides. After what seemed like an eternity of walking, Lucas came upon an enormous stone gate. It was adorned with intricate symbols that glowed softly in the dim light of the world. At the base of the gate stood a figure, tall and cloaked, with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through the darkness. "Who are you?" Lucas asked, unsure if the figure was part of the game or some new challenge. The figure stepped forward, its voice deep and resonant. "I am the guardian of the portal," it said. "You have crossed into a world that few have ever seen. To proceed, you must prove yourself worthy." Lucas blinked. This was a new level, and now he had to face some sort of guardian. He wasn't sure what to expect, but he knew one thing: this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. If he could beat this challenge, who knew what he would discover next? "How do I prove myself?" he asked, eager to continue. The guardian raised one hand, and a massive stone door appeared in the sky. "You must solve the 3 trials of the hidden realm. Only then will you be able to unlock the next portal and move forward. Fail, and you will be trapped here forever." Lucas swallowed nervously. Trapped forever? He couldn't let that happen. He had come this far, and there was no turning back now. "What are the trials?" he asked, trying to stay calm. The guardian's eyes glowed brighter as it spoke. "The first trial is of wisdom, the second of strength, and the third of heart. Only when you have proven yourself in all 3 will you be able to proceed." The guardian vanished in a flash of light, leaving Lucas standing in front of the stone gate. Lucas took a deep breath and stepped forward. The trials were waiting, and he had to face them one by one. Chapter 3: The Trial of Wisdom. The moment Lucas stepped into the center of the gate, the world around him shifted. The ground became solid, and the floating islands disappeared, leaving him in a vast, empty space. The air was thick with the scent of ancient books and dust. Before him appeared a massive stone pedestal, and on it sat an ancient scroll. Lucas approached the scroll and unrolled it carefully, reading the riddle inscribed on the parchment: "I speak without a voice. I hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?" Lucas frowned. He had seen riddles like this in other games before, but this one stumped him. He thought hard, staring at the scroll as the seconds ticked by. What could it be? Then, he remembered something from a previous game, a riddle almost identical to this one. The answer had been an echo. With a sense of growing excitement, Lucas typed the answer into the game's interface: an echo. The scroll disappeared in a flash, and the space around him began to glow. The stone pedestal sank into the ground, and the first trial was complete. A soft voice echoed through the air, congratulating him on his success. "Well done, child. 1 trial remains." Lucas smiled to himself. 1 down, 2 to go. He was on a roll. Chapter 4: The Trial of Strength. Lucas wasn't given much time to celebrate. The world around him shifted again, this time into a coliseum-like arena, surrounded by towering walls. On the other side of the arena stood a giant, armored beast, its eyes glowing with malice. The creature was twice the size of any monster Lucas had ever faced in the game. Its massive claws scraped the ground, sending sparks flying. This wasn't just a puzzle, it was a battle. Lucas readied his character's sword and shield. He had faced difficult foes before, but nothing like this. The creature roared, charging toward him with incredible speed. You can do this, Lucas muttered to himself, dodging the creature's first strike. He quickly countered with a powerful sword swing, but it barely made a dent in the creature's thick armor. The battle raged on for what felt like hours. Lucas was exhausted, his character's health steadily decreasing. But he didn't give up. He used his agility to dodge the beast's attacks, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Finally, after a series of clever maneuvers, Lucas managed to land a critical hit to the creature's weak spot, a small gap in its armor. The beast let out a deafening roar and collapsed to the ground, defeated. Lucas stood victorious, breathing heavily. He had done it. The second trial was complete. Chapter 5: The Trial of Heart. Lucas was ready for the final trial, but this one felt different. As the world around him shifted, he found himself standing in a small, peaceful garden surrounded by flowers and trees. The air was warm, and the sky was painted in soft shades of pink and orange. Before him appeared a figure, his own reflection. The reflection smiled gently. The final trial is not one of strength or wisdom, Lucas. It is a trial of your heart. Do you have the courage to trust yourself even when all seems uncertain? Lucas blinked. What did this mean? The reflection began to speak again, its voice soft and reassuring. The journey ahead will not always be easy. But if you trust your instincts and the heart that led you here, you will find your way. Lucas took a deep breath and stepped forward, trusting himself and the adventure he had started. He knew this was the key to completing the final trial. With a sense of calm, he embraced the challenge, and the world around him shone with a bright light. The screen flickered, and suddenly, Lucas was back in his room. The game's world had faded, but he knew deep down that he had unlocked something beyond the game, a new adventure that was only just beginning. Want to listen more? Please subscribe.